Okay. Today we are going to learn that how can we make all these shapes a square which has four sides and all sides are equal in that, a rectangle which again has four sides and only opposite sides are equal in that, a triangle which has three sides and the sides may or may not be equal, but we are going to focus on this shape with equal sides only, a triangle with equal sides. We call it an equilateral triangle, but you guys don't need to remember that name. Similarly, we are going to try and draw a pentagon which would have five sides and five equal sides when I say five sides. And a hexagon would also have six sides and equal six sides. We are going to make a hexagon with six equal sides. Okay. So after this, we would move towards Scratch and would learn about the pen tool. We have already used the pen tool in one lesson, right? Who remembers that?
Sir,
We
I
have,
remember.
you remember. Okay, we use the pen tool. Basically, it was an extension. It is not a part of our regular code, but we can add pen tool here. So for that, what we need to do is go to add extension, this blue color button at the bottom left of your Scratch window, and then you can click on pen. Okay. Now you have got all the commands that can allow you to write on a screen or something like that. So you are going to make a square, let's say. A square has four sides and it has four angles also. All the angles are equal. So you will get that the angle between squares, different sides is always equal. It's 90 degrees. So you are going to use pen down first to start writing, and then you can use pen up to stop drawing. Pen down helps you to start the drawing, and pen up helps you to stop the drawing. So now let's try to figure out how we would make a rectangle, how we would make a square. Okay. So in order to make a square, what we need to do is draw four lines. So we will say move 100 steps and we have to move four times. So I will duplicate, duplicate, and duplicate. So we are going to move four times. Okay. So we will move four times. And after moving 100 steps every time, we are going to turn 90 degrees. Okay. So now instead of using this move, let's say, this helps me to draw one, you can say, side. And if I repeat this process four times, just like that, so if I repeat this process four times, okay, move 100 steps, turn 90, again move 100 steps, turn 90, move 100 steps, turn 90 once again, move 100 steps and turn 90 once again. So if I use these four steps together with a pen down button and ask my character to pen up after that, we might be doing this. So I would ask my character to go here first and point in direction 90 also. Why don't I just make my character go?
Sir, 1 minute.
Go to this position and point in direction 90. So now I have compiled that code that can help me to make the square. So if I would press this button now, it would help my cat to make a square. So let's try it. Click on this button and see what happens. It has drawn a square. But wasn't it very fast? It was very fast, right? It has drawn a square. Just so that if you guys are kind of having a problem understanding how it did it, Let me do that once again. See, I press this button, it draws a square, right? I press this button and it draws a square, but it is very fast. Why don't we just make it look like that this cat is moving? So we say that let's control its movement. We are going to ask this cat to like wait for some time before it actually draws the second line and after it has drawn the first line. So we would say this helps us to draw the first line. So wait a little after that. This helps you to draw the second line. Perfectly fine. But wait after that. This helps you to draw the third line. Fine. Draw that line, but wait after that. And this helps us to draw the fourth line. So maybe we don't need it after the fourth line. So now when I press this pen down button, you can actually see the cat moving forward, then turning, then moving again, then turning again. This way, completing its square like that. See? It was simpler to understand now. So it goes forward, turns, goes forward, turns, goes forward, and turns. This is how it is making a triangle. Now, you might remember that we have learned to use this repeat block. So what if we, instead of drawing 4 lines, only draw 1 line and ask our cat to repeat this process 4 times? Would that help? So now what we have done is, see again, we had actually written the code to draw 4 lines. Now what I suggest is that it is too much of a code. It is a lot of code. So why don't just make it simple? Remove the 3 lines that we draw later. Just keep the code to draw the 1 line and tell our repeat process to repeat this whole thing 4 times. So this way it would draw 1 line. So the repeat process 1 is gone. Then it repeats the process second time, repeats it third time, and repeats it 4 times. So this is going to do the same thing. This one step. Let me show you what this one step is. This one step is like this one. So what if I just tell my computer to do it 4 times? Like do it second time, do it third time, and do it fourth time. So if I ask it to do it 4 times, it would be able to complete the triangle. That's what I believe. So I put it this 1 lines process and ask my system to do it 4 times by putting it in the repeat process. So now let's say that it repeats the same thing 4 times. So this is what is going to happen. Still, it is making a rectangle, a square. Okay, that's perfectly fine. It still is doing that. But let's say that it's kind of difficult for me to like write this code again if I want to draw a square. So why don't I just make it a function and I tell my system to follow that function? And maybe if it does, I would have a sort of a good, you can say, value to do something. Okay. So what I do is I go to my blocks, and you see that this is currently empty. In my block section, you do not see anything, right? So why don't we make a block of ourselves? So click on make a block. It will help you to just add something to your block. So I would say my block's name is draw a square. And I click on OK. Now this says define how do you draw a square. So I say this is how I draw a square. So this is now defined. Now see what I do is I tell my system to draw a square. I erase everything and I tell it to draw a square instead of doing that. And what it does is it helps me to draw that square. Fine. See it again. At this point, if I erase it and draw it again, you would see that it draws one square. Now let's say that I want my system to draw many squares. Okay. I want it to draw more than one squares. Okay. I want it to draw like more than one squares. So I can just repeat this process. I can just ask my process, go to control loop and repeat it and tell it to repeat drawing a square. But after drawing a square, what it should do is it should move 150 steps. So it does not draw on the same spot twice. And also, I would say change pen color by 30 after it draws it. So instead of making this big squares, I'm going to make small squares. So I would say make a square that is 50 steps. And similarly, I'm going to change it to 70. Now, see the difference that it makes in my whole code. I just told this program that it should not be making a square that is 100 steps. It should be making a square that is 50 steps. So I would want to start it here. So let's erase all, and position is minus 220 and 130. I would say minus 220 and 130 here. And now I would be kind of making 10 rectangles, 10 squares. And instead of like making these rectangles like this, I would be making 10 rectangles just with one click, just like this. How is it? But now it has stopped. It can't go any further. That's the problem. Okay, so maybe we need to reduce the number of rectangles that we make. So let's erase everything. Ask this character to go back. And now try to draw this shape a little differently by asking it to overlap other triangles. So 50 steps is the first triangle. I would say for the second triangle, it needs to take 30 steps, maybe like that. And instead of making 10 triangles, I'm going to ask it to make 8 triangles, maybe 7. That would be better. So that is how it draws now. So what do you see now? A different pattern being made, right? Now the pattern is being made a little differently. Let's ask it to go again on the start. And this time around, we are going to make some changes. We are going
my
to...
cat.
Sorry?
My cat is making circles.
Your cat is making circles. Maybe
I don't know why.
Can you show us the code?
Why? Sir, can you see it?
I would have to try. First, stop sharing my screen. Your cat is making a circle? Yes, it would make
Yes,
a sort
it's
of a...
also.
It's not
It's not.
completing the circle, right? So the problem here is the angle that you are using. You need to tell your cat to turn 90 degrees and not 15 degrees. Here. Turn. This is in the pen down that define a block tool. So you need to tell it to turn 90 degrees.
And
First, click on this blue go to button.
emotion.
This in front of you, yes. And how many times are you repeating the process? Here,
10 times.
you have to repeat it 4 times. See, a rectangle square has 4 sides. You need to repeat it 4 times only. Yes, now try it.
Okay. Okay, now it's making.
It's making that. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So now what we do is I would duplicate this code block here and I would use another function to define how do I draw a triangle. Okay. So how do we draw a triangle? Do you know how do we draw a triangle? We
No,
draw
sir.
a triangle by repeating the same thing, but instead of doing it 4 times, we are going to do it 3 times. And instead of turning 90 degrees, we are going to turn 120 degrees. The formula is very simple. Now, if I have to explain you that formula, look at the calculator. Remember this number. What is this? What does this number say?
360.
A square has how many sides?
4 sides.
So you divide this by 4 and you get what?
90.
So that is why you are turning 90 degrees when you are making a square, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, how many? Write that number again. This number is 360. So if you want to make a triangle, how many sides do you want to make?
3.
3. So you divide this number by 3 now and you get the angle. What is the angle?
120.
So you would have to turn your character 120 degrees if you want to make a rectangle, a triangle. Now see if it helps you to do that. See, it's doing it, right?
Oh.
It's doing
Yes,
it.
sir.
Okay. So now define a new block also. Say make a block and name it draw a triangle and click on OK. Define draw a triangle. So this is the triangle that we are going to draw. And now let's make our code more interesting. We would say duplicate this and instead of drawing a square, draw a triangle and attach it with the previous block, just like that. So now this is a shape that you are going to get. How is it? Okay.
Sir, looking good.
Okay. So now we have learned about to draw a triangle and a square using the define function tool. So just let's save our document. The thing is save to our computer.
Sir,
and
can
we're
you
going to
wait?
say drawing shapes. Let me just draw that. Okay. So we'll start from here again tomorrow. So we'll learn to draw other shapes and that we would do tomorrow. Fine.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
There is less than 1 minute remaining for this class. So what I would suggest is that you guys keep on doing. If you want to do it, just copy the code until it is
Sir, will
open.
you send the recording?
I will send the recording. I generally forget to, but I will try to. I will make sure that I send it at least by what do we call it? Friday or Sunday. So I will
Okay,
share it
sir.
by Sunday. There is a call that I need to make. Just give me a moment.